I, 26F, always knew my sister wanted what I had. I just never thought she would try to take my wedding day. The plan for the first look was simple. My fiancé, Liam, 28M, would stand in the garden with his back to the house. I would walk out, tap him on the shoulder, and he would turn around. It was supposed to be a private moment for us before the chaos of the ceremony began. A moment to see each other as bride and groom before we saw anyone else. A memory just for the two of us, captured by our photographer, of course. But it was our memory to make. I stood by the door, my heart beating fast. I could see Liam through the glass. He looked so handsome in his suit. I felt a surge of love for him that was so strong it almost brought tears to my eyes. This was it. This was the start of our forever. My maid of honor, my sister Chloe, was supposed to be right behind me, holding my train. She was supposed to fix it for the pictures after Liam and I had our moment. I took a deep breath. I put my hand on the doorknob. The photographer gave me a thumbs up from her position near the old oak tree. Everything was perfect. But then a flash of white moved past me. It was Chloe. She pushed past me so quickly I stumbled back a step. She was wearing a white dress. Not her pale blue maid of honor dress. A white dress. My white dress. It was my backup wedding dress, a simple, elegant gown I had bought on a whim. I had kept it a secret, just in case something happened to my main one. No one was supposed to know about it. She opened the door and stepped outside. My mind could not process what was happening. It felt like a dream, a nightmare. I heard her call out Liam's name in a sweet, sing-song voice. Then she said the words that would echo in my head for the rest of my life. She said, "He saw me first." I watched, frozen, as Liam turned around. His smile was huge, radiant, full of love and anticipation. And then it vanished. It was replaced by a look of pure, utter confusion. His eyes were not on me. They were on my sister, who was standing there, beaming in a dress that was meant for me. The shock was a physical thing. It felt like a punch to the stomach, knocking all the air out of my lungs. I could not move. I could not speak. I just stood there, hidden in the doorway, watching my special moment get stolen right in front of my eyes. The photographer lowered her camera, her own face a mask of confusion. Chloe just stood there, posing, turning slightly to show off the dress. My dress. She was acting as if this was her moment, as if she was the bride. Liam took a step back. He looked from her to the doorway where I was standing, my face probably as white as my real wedding gown. His expression shifted from confusion to anger, a deep, cold anger that I had rarely seen in him. He knew exactly what she was doing. She was trying to ruin this for me, for us. And in that moment, something inside me snapped. The part of me that always tried to keep the peace, that always made excuses for her, that always let things slide to avoid a fight, it just broke. This was a line that could not be uncrossed. This was a betrayal so deep, so calculated that it changed everything. This was not a joke. This was war. My mother came bustling up behind me. She was adjusting her hat, a big, fussy thing that she insisted on wearing. "What's the delay, Anna?" she asked, her voice cheerful. Then she saw Chloe outside with Liam. She saw the dress. Her smile did not falter. Instead, it widened. "Oh, look at that," she said, chuckling. "Chloe is just having a little fun, breaking the tension." I turned to look at her, my eyes wide with disbelief. Fun? She thought this was fun? "She's wearing my backup dress, Mom," I said, my voice barely a whisper. My mother patted my arm. "I know, dear. It was her idea. Just a silly prank to make everyone laugh. Don't be such a stick in the mud. It's your wedding day. You should be happy." I stared at her. My own mother was in on it. She knew. She had helped my sister do this to me. The feeling of betrayal deepened, becoming a vast, empty chasm inside my chest. I was completely and utterly alone in this. My own family was working against me on the one day that was supposed to be about my happiness. Liam started walking toward the house, his face like thunder. Chloe's smile finally faltered as she realized he was not playing along. He was furious. "What is wrong with you?" I heard him say to her, his voice low and dangerous. Chloe just shrugged, trying to look innocent. "It was just a joke, Liam. Lighten up." He brushed past her without another word and came straight to me. He took my hands in his. They were trembling. "Are you okay?" he asked, his eyes searching mine. I could only shake my head. No, I was not okay. I was not okay at all. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. I wanted to throw something. But I did none of those things. A strange sort of calm washed over me. It was the kind of calm that comes when you realize you have nothing left to lose. My perfect day was already tainted. My relationship with my sister and mother was shattered beyond repair. All that was left was what I was going to do about it. Chloe came back inside, followed by my mother. Chloe was still smiling, but it looked forced now. "See? No harm done," she said brightly. "Now you can have your turn, Anna. I warmed him up for you." I looked at her. I really looked at her. I saw the jealousy in her eyes, the desperate need for attention that had driven her to do this. I saw the smug satisfaction that she had managed to put herself at the center of my day. And I felt nothing but a cold, hard resolve. "Take the dress off," I said. My voice was quiet, but it was steady. There was no room for argument in it. Chloe's smile dropped completely. "What?" she asked. I said take the dress off. "Now," I repeated. My mother stepped forward, her hands on her hips. "Anna, that is enough," she said sharply. "Do not speak to your sister that way. She was just playing. You are going to ruin this whole day with your attitude." "She already ruined it," I said, my voice gaining strength. "She ruined the one moment I can never get back. And you helped her." Liam put a protective arm around me. "She's right," he said to my mother. This was not a joke. It was cruel. "Chloe, go change, now, and give Anna back her dress." Chloe looked from Liam to me, her eyes flashing with anger. "Fine," she snapped, "but you're being a total bridezilla about this. It's just a dress." She stormed off toward the bridal suite to change back into her maid of honor gown. My mother sighed dramatically. "I hope you're happy, Anna. You've made your sister cry on your wedding day." I just looked at her. I did not have the words to explain how deeply she had misunderstood the situation. Or maybe she understood perfectly, and she just did not care. The photographer came over to me, looking apologetic. "I am so sorry about that," she said. "I didn't know what to do. I didn't take any pictures of that." I nodded, grateful for her discretion. "Thank you," I said. "Can we just try again, once I'm ready?" She nodded. "Of course, take all the time you need." Liam squeezed my hand. "We'll make our own moment," he said softly. "A better one. Just you and me." I wanted to believe him. I really did. But the image of my sister standing in my dress, with my fiancé's initial beautiful smile directed at her, was burned into my mind. It was a stain on the day that I did not know if I could ever wash out. After a few minutes, I pulled myself together. I would not let them win. I would not let them see me fall apart. I would walk down that aisle. I would marry the man I loved. And I would deal with my sister and my mother later. But as I walked toward the garden to finally have my real first look with Liam, I knew one thing for certain. Things were not going to be swept under the rug this time. There would be a reckoning, and I would be the one to deliver it. The second attempt at the first look was quiet. Liam's back was to me again. I walked up to him, my real dress rustling softly. I tapped his shoulder. He turned, and this time his smile was just for me. It was a little sad around the edges, but it was real. "You look beautiful, Anna," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "Absolutely perfect." He pulled me into a hug, and I held on tight, trying to soak in the comfort of his arms. "I'm so sorry," he whispered into my hair. "I should have known she would pull something like this." I shook my head against his chest. "It's not your fault," I said. "It's hers. And my mom's." We stood there for a long moment, just holding each other. The photographer took a few pictures, but it felt different now. The spontaneity, the pure joy of the moment had been stolen. We were just going through the motions. We posed for a few more photos, trying to smile, trying to look happy. But there was a shadow hanging over us, the shadow of my sister's betrayal. As we walked back toward the house, I saw my best friend and bridesmaid Sarah waiting for me. She had a look of thunder on her face. She had clearly heard what happened. She pulled me into a fierce hug. "I am going to kill her." She muttered into my ear, "Just say the word, and I will drag her out of here by her hair." I managed a small smile. "Tempting," I said. "But not yet. I have a better idea." Sarah pulled back, her eyes curious. "What are you thinking?" she asked. I glanced over at the bridal suite where Chloe was supposed to be getting ready again. "I'm thinking my maid of honor needs to be someone who actually supports me," I said. Sarah's eyes widened. "Are you serious?" she asked. "You're going to fire her? Today?" I nodded. "I have to," I said. "I can't have her standing up there with me, pretending to be happy for me after what she did. It would be a lie. The whole thing would be a lie." Liam, who had been listening, nodded in agreement. "I support you 100%, he said. "Whatever you decide to do, I'm with you." Having him and Sarah on my side gave me the strength I needed. I was not alone in this after all. I had people who loved me, who saw the truth of the situation, and that was all the backup I needed. My plan started to form in my mind. It was risky. It was dramatic. It was everything I normally tried to avoid. But this was not a normal situation. Chloe and my mother had declared war. It was time for me to fight back. Before I could put my plan into action, I needed more information. I needed to understand the full scope of what they had done. I found Sarah and pulled her aside. "Did you see anything this morning?" I asked her. "Anything unusual with Chloe or my mom?" Sarah nodded grimly. "I saw Chloe go into your room when you were in makeup," she said. "I thought it was weird because she had all her stuff in the other room. She came out a few minutes later with a garment bag. I didn't think anything of it at the time, but it must have been the backup dress." My stomach clenched, so it was premeditated. She had planned this all along. "What about my mom?" I asked. "She was with Chloe almost all morning," Sarah said. "They were whispering a lot. I heard them laughing. I thought they were just excited about the wedding. Now I realize they were plotting." The pieces were all falling into place. This was not a spur-of-the-moment prank. It was a carefully orchestrated plot to humiliate me. I needed more proof. Something undeniable. I remembered my mother had been texting furiously all morning, a smug little smile on her face. She was always careless with her phone, leaving it lying around. I went into the main sitting room where the bridal party had been getting ready, and there it was, on a side table right next to her half-empty glass of champagne. Her phone was unlocked. My hands were shaking as I picked it up. I felt a pang of guilt for invading her privacy, but it was quickly replaced by a cold fury as I opened her messages with Chloe. The conversation was all there, spelled out in black and white. It started a week ago. "Chloe, I found the perfect way to make Anna's day a little more interesting. Mom, what are you planning, you little devil? Chloe, she has a second dress, a secret one. I'm going to wear it for the first look. Imagine Liam's face. Mom, oh, that's hilarious. A bit naughty, but all in good fun. Her expression will be priceless." My blood ran cold. They thought it was funny. They were looking forward to my pain. I scrolled down, my heart pounding in my chest. The messages from this morning were even worse. "Chloe, The eagle is in the nest. I have the dress. Mom. Perfect. I'll distract Anna while you change. This is going to be the story of the year. Chloe. She can't have everything perfect. It's time she was taken down a peg. Taken down a peg. On my wedding day. My own mother and sister felt I needed to be humbled. I took screenshots of the entire conversation and sent them to my own phone. Then I sent them to Sarah. I put my mother's phone back on the table exactly where I found it. She would never know I had seen it. I walked out of the room, my mind clear and focused. The hurt was still there, a dull ache in my chest. But now it was overlaid with a layer of icy determination. They had underestimated me. They had always underestimated me. They saw my desire to keep the peace as weakness. They saw my willingness to forgive as a license to continue hurting me. They were about to learn how wrong they were. I found the wedding planner, a woman named Maria. She was a whirlwind of efficiency and calm, directing vendors and solving problems with a flick of her wrist. I pulled her into a small, empty office. I have a problem, I said, my voice low. Maria looked at me, her expression professional but concerned. What is it, dear? She asked. Anything I can do to help? I took a deep breath. My maid of honor, my sister, deliberately tried to sabotage my first look with my fiancé, I said. I quickly explained what had happened. I showed her the screenshots of the text messages. Maria's eyes widened as she read the texts. Her professional demeanor slipped for a moment, replaced by a look of pure outrage. That is despicable, she said, her voice tight with anger. I have seen a lot of family drama at weddings, but this is a new level of malicious. I nodded. I can't have her in my wedding party, I said. I want her out, but I know she and my mother will cause a massive scene if I just tell her to leave. Maria tapped her chin, thinking. We need leverage, she said. Something to make them back down without a fight that will derail the entire schedule. I have the texts, I said. Is that enough? Maria shook her head. They'll just say the texts were a joke, that you're taking them out of context. They will try to gaslight you and make you look like the crazy one. She was right. That was exactly what they would do. It was their standard operating procedure. So what do we do? I asked, feeling a flicker of despair. Maria's eyes suddenly lit up. Wait a minute, she said. The videographer. He puts a small microphone on the groom to capture the audio for the first look. It records everything. My heart skipped a beat. Was it on? I asked. During the incident with Chloe? Maria pulled out her phone and made a quick call. She spoke in low, urgent tones. After a minute, she hung up and looked at me, a triumphant smile on her face. It was on, she said. He has the entire thing on audio. Chloe's comments, Liam's reaction, even your mother telling him to play along. This was it. This was the undeniable proof. The weapon I needed. Can I get a copy of that audio? I asked. Maria nodded. I'll have him send it to me right now, and I will send it to you. A few minutes later, the audio file appeared in my email. My hands trembled as I pressed play. I listened with Maria standing beside me. It was even more damning than I could have imagined. Chloe's smug voice saying to the photographer, just get a good shot of his face when he sees me. It's going to be epic. Liam's voice, cold and furious. What are you doing, Chloe? This is sick. Where is Anna? And then my mother's voice, wheedling and manipulative. Oh, Liam, don't be a spoilsport. It's just a bit of fun. Just play along for a minute. Don't make a scene on their big day. Their big day. Not my big day. Theirs. The audio ended. I looked at Maria, my eyes burning with unshed tears. Now you have them, she said softly. They cannot deny this. They cannot twist this. You hold all the power now, Anna. What do you want to do? I took a deep breath, the cold resolve hardening inside me like steel. I want to get married, I said, to the man I love, with people who love and support me standing by my side. And I want my sister and my mother to understand that there are consequences for their actions. Maria nodded, her expression grimly satisfied. Then let's go make that happen, she said. The time had come. The guests were starting to arrive. The music was beginning to play. The ceremony was scheduled to start in 15 minutes. My father came to the bridal suite to walk me down the aisle. He was a good man, but a passive one. He hated conflict and had spent his life letting my mother and Chloe run the show. Are you ready, sweetheart? He asked, his eyes shining with pride. You look like a princess. I took his hands in mine. Dad, we need to talk, I said. Something has happened. I quickly and quietly told him everything. I showed him the texts. I played him the audio. As he listened, his face changed from happy pride to shock, then to a deep, sorrowful anger. He looked older suddenly, weaker. I had no idea, he whispered, shaking his head. I always thought Chloe was just high-spirited. She's not high-spirited, Dad, I said gently. She's cruel, and Mom enables her. He looked at me, his eyes filled with a pain I had never seen before. What are you going to do? He asked. I'm not walking down that aisle until this is resolved, I said. Chloe is not going to be my maid of honor. She is not going to be in my wedding party, and I need you to back me up. For a moment, I saw him waver. I saw the lifetime of avoiding conflict warring with the love he had for me. Then he straightened his shoulders and looked me in the eye. Okay, he said, his voice firm. I'm with you, Anna. Whatever you need. I asked him to bring my mother and Chloe to the suite. Liam was already there, standing by my side like a silent, supportive sentinel. Sarah was there too, a loyal guard at my back. A few moments later, my father returned with my mother and Chloe. Chloe had changed into her maid of honor dress. She had a pout on her face, but she was clearly expecting me to have gotten over it by now. My mother was smiling her bright, false smile. There you are, she said. We were all getting worried. It's time to go. I stood my ground. We're not going anywhere, I said calmly. Not until we sort something out. My mother's smile tightened. Anna, this is not the time for dramatics, she said. Your guests are waiting. They can wait, I said. Chloe, you are no longer my maid of honor. Chloe let out a short, sharp laugh. You can't be serious, she said. You're going to ruin your own wedding because you can't take a joke? It wasn't a joke, I said, my voice like ice. It was a calculated, malicious act designed to hurt me. And Mom, you were in on it from the beginning. My mother scoffed. Oh, for heaven's sake, I have never heard such nonsense. You are being a bridezilla, Anna. Now stop this and let's go. This was the moment. The point of no return. No, I said. Here are the new terms. Chloe will take off that dress. She can attend the wedding as a guest. Or she can leave. Sarah will be my maid of honor. Those are the only conditions under which I will walk down that aisle. Chloe stared at me, her mouth hanging open in disbelief. You can't do that, she shrieked. I'm your sister. I'm your maid of honor. You'll be a laughingstock. I would rather be a laughingstock than a doormat, I replied. You made your choice, Chloe. Now I'm making mine. My mother stepped forward, her face flushed with anger. I will not allow you to humiliate your sister like this, she yelled. You will walk down that aisle with her by your side and you will put a smile on your face, or so help me. She trailed off, sputtering with rage. Or what? I asked quietly. What will you do, Mom? Will you tell everyone what a terrible, ungrateful daughter I am? Will you tell them how I overreacted to a harmless prank? I pulled out my phone. Because if you do, I will stand up at the reception and I will play this for everyone. I pressed play on the audio file. Chloe's smug voice filled the silent room. Just get a good shot of his face when he sees me. The color drained from Chloe's face. She looked like she was going to be sick. My mother stared at the phone as if it were a venomous snake. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. She had nothing to say. There was no way to spin this, no way to deny it. The entire thing, Mom, I said, stopping the audio. Every single second. Liam's anger, your excuses, it's all there. So you have a choice. Chloe can leave the wedding party quietly, and we can try to salvage what's left of this day. Or you can force the issue. And I will make sure every single person here knows exactly what the two of you did. I looked at my father. He stood tall, his jaw set. He looked at my mother and said, "She's right, Helen. You've gone too far this time. Chloe, do as your sister says." My mother looked at him, utterly betrayed. She was not used to him standing up to her. She looked at Chloe, then at me. She saw the unwavering resolve in my eyes. She knew I was not bluffing. The fight went out of her. She slumped, defeated. "Fine," she whispered. She turned to Chloe. "Go change," she said, her voice flat and dead. "Give Sarah the dress." Chloe burst into tears, loud, hiccuping sobs of rage and humiliation. "This isn't fair," she wailed. "She's ruining everything." "No," I said, my voice devoid of any sympathy. "You did this to yourself." Chloe shot me a look of pure hatred, then turned and ran from the room. My mother followed her, not giving me a second glance. There was a moment of stunned silence in the room. Then Sarah stepped forward and gave me a hug. "You did it," she whispered. "I'm so proud of you." Liam kissed my forehead. "I knew you had it in you," he said. My father put a hand on my shoulder. "I'm sorry it came to this, Anna," he said. "But you were right to stand up for yourself." The wedding planner, Maria, appeared at the door. "Is everything resolved?" she asked, her gaze taking in the scene. I nodded. "Yes," I said. "We have a new maid of honor." I smiled at Sarah. "Let's go get you a dress." Maria was a miracle worker. Within 10 minutes, she had found Sarah a simple, elegant blue dress from a bridesmaid who had brought a spare. It fit her perfectly. As Sarah was getting changed, I took the maid of honor dress Chloe had been wearing and I cut it into pieces. I put the pieces in a trash bag and handed it to Maria. "Make sure this disappears," I said. She nodded, a small, satisfied smile on her face. "Consider it gone," she said. The ceremony was delayed by 20 minutes, but no one seemed to mind. As I stood with my father, ready to walk down the aisle, I felt a sense of peace I had not felt all day. I was nervous, yes, but I was also calm. I had taken control of my own life, my own day. I saw my mother and Chloe sitting in the back row. They both looked pale and drawn. Chloe had been crying, her makeup was smudged. My mother just stared straight ahead, her face a blank mask. They did not look at me. I did not look at them. As I walked down the aisle toward Liam, I saw only him. I saw the love and pride in his eyes. I saw our future stretching out before us, and I knew with a certainty that settled deep in my bones that I had made the right choice. The rest of the wedding was beautiful. The ceremony was heartfelt. The vows were emotional. We were finally, officially, husband and wife. At the reception, Sarah gave a wonderful speech as my maid of honor. She talked about our long friendship, about how happy she was for me and Liam. She did not mention the drama of the morning, but there was a fire in her eyes that told me she was thinking about it. My father also gave a speech. He spoke of his love for me, of his admiration for my strength and character. He looked directly at me when he said, "Anna has always been the rock of our family, the one who puts others first. Today, she put herself first, and I have never been more proud of her." It was a clear message to my mother and Chloe, a public declaration of his support for me. I saw my mother flinch. Chloe just stared at her plate. Throughout the reception, guests would come up to me and Liam congratulating us. A few people asked why Chloe wasn't in the wedding party. I just smiled and said, "We had a last-minute change of plans." I did not elaborate. I did not need to. The rumor mill was already churning. People could see the tension. They could see my mother and sister sitting alone at a table in the back, looking like they were at a funeral instead of a wedding. Liam's mother, a kind and wonderful woman, came and gave me a long hug. "I don't know what happened," she said quietly, "but I can guess. I just want you to know that we love you and we are so happy to have you as a daughter. You are strong and you did whatever you felt was right, and that's all that matters." Her words meant the world to me. They were a balm on the raw wound of my own mother's betrayal. Later in the evening, as Liam and I were dancing, I saw my father go over to the table where my mother and Chloe were sitting. He spoke to them for a long time, his expression serious. I could not hear what he was saying, but I saw my mother start to cry. Chloe just looked sullen. After about 10 minutes, my father came back to the dance floor. He looked tired. "I told them," he said to me, "I told them that if they can't respect you and your marriage, then they will not be a part of our lives. I told them the choice is theirs." I was stunned. I had never seen my father take such a firm stand. "Thank you, Dad," I said, my voice thick with emotion. He just nodded and squeezed my hand. As the night wound down, Liam and I prepared for our grand exit. Our friends and family lined up outside with sparklers. Before we left, I saw my cousin, Jessica. She had always been closer to me than Chloe. She pulled me aside for a moment. "I heard some of what happened," she said. "I just want you to know, Chloe has been saying nasty things about you for weeks. Telling people you were getting cold feet, that Liam deserved better. I didn't believe her for a second." I hugged her tightly. "Thank you for telling me," I said. It was just another confirmation that I had done the right thing. This was not an isolated incident. It was a pattern of behavior that had been going on for years. I had just finally stopped ignoring it. Liam and I ran through the tunnel of sparklers, laughing and cheering. We got into the car that would take us to our hotel. As we drove away, I looked back at the venue. I saw my mother and Chloe standing by the door watching us leave. They looked small and pathetic. For the first time, I did not feel anger or hurt when I looked at them. I just felt pity. They had tried so hard to ruin my happiness, and they had failed. All they had managed to do was ruin their own relationship with me. The next morning, I woke up in a beautiful hotel room, with my husband sleeping peacefully beside me. The sun was streaming through the window. It was the first day of the rest of our lives. My phone was buzzing on the nightstand. I picked it up. There was a long, rambling text message from my mother. It was a masterpiece of manipulation and self-pity. She accused me of humiliating the family, of being selfish and cruel, of turning my father against them. She said that Chloe was devastated and that it was all my fault. She ended the message by saying, "I don't know how we can ever recover from this. You have broken my heart." I read the message twice. The old me would have felt a surge of guilt. The old me would have started typing out a long, apologetic reply, trying to smooth things over, trying to take the blame just to keep the peace. But the old me was gone. I had burned her away in the fire of my sister's betrayal. I typed out a single sentence and pressed send. She humiliated herself. Then I blocked my mother's number. I blocked Chloe's number too. I turned to my new husband, who was just starting to stir. "Good morning," I said, a real, genuine smile spreading across my face. "Good morning, Mrs. Miller," he replied, pulling me into his arms. We were on our way to our honeymoon in Hawaii, a new beginning, far away from the drama and toxicity of my family. I knew there would be challenges ahead. I knew that my relationship with my mother and sister might be broken forever. But as I lay there, wrapped in Liam's arms, I felt a profound sense of peace. I had stopped giving warnings. I had stopped accepting excuses. They had finally learned what it feels like to be small. And I had finally learned what it feels like to be free. The first few days of our honeymoon were pure bliss. We swam in the ocean, we hiked to waterfalls, we ate amazing food. We did not talk about the wedding drama. We did not talk about my family. We just focused on each other, on building the foundation of our new life together. It was a much-needed respite. But on the fourth day, as we were sitting on the beach watching the sunset, Liam turned to me, his expression serious. "We need to talk about what happens when we get back," he said. I knew this conversation was coming. I had been dreading it a little. "I know," I said, sighing. "I've been trying not to think about it." "We can't ignore it forever," he said gently. "They are still your family." I picked up a seashell and turned it over in my hand. "Are they?" I asked quietly. "A family doesn't do what they did." Liam was quiet for a moment. "I know," he said, "and I will support whatever you decide. If you want to cut them out of your life completely, I will stand by you. But I also want to make sure you're thinking it through, that it's what you really want, and not just a reaction to the pain." I appreciated his thoughtful approach. He was not telling me what to do. He was just making sure I was considering all the angles. "I don't know what I want," I admitted. "Part of me wants to never speak to them again, but there's another part of me, the part that remembers the good times, the holidays, the birthdays, that feels sad at the thought of losing them forever." "That's understandable," he said. "You're allowed to feel both things at once. You can be angry and hurt and still miss the family you thought you had." We talked for a long time that night. We talked about what boundaries would look like if I did decide to let them back into my life. We agreed that there would need to be a sincere apology. Not a "I'm sorry you feel that way" apology, but a real, genuine admission of wrongdoing and a promise to change. We also agreed that we would need to go to family therapy, all of us, together. "If they are not willing to do those two things," Liam said, "then we have our answer. Then we know that they are not truly sorry, and they are not willing to change. And then we can walk away with a clear conscience knowing we did everything we could." It was a good plan. It was a fair plan. It gave them a path back into my life, but it was a path they had to choose to walk. The ball was in their court. It took the pressure off me. I did not have to decide whether to cut them out or not. They would make that decision for me, by their actions. When we got back from our honeymoon, there was a letter waiting for me. It was from my father. I opened it with trembling hands. It was a long letter, several pages written in his neat, careful script. He apologized again for his role in everything. He apologized for being passive, for not seeing the toxicity of my mother and sister's relationship, for not protecting me from it. He said that the wedding had been a wake-up call for him. He said he had moved into the guest room. He was not sure what the future held for his marriage, but he could no longer be a silent partner in my mother's cruelty. He also said that he had spoken to Chloe. He had told her that he was deeply ashamed of her behavior. He had cut her off financially. She was 28 years old, and it was time for her to stand on her own 2 feet. He ended the letter by saying that he loved me more than words could say, and that he would support me, no matter what I decided to do about my mother and sister. But he hoped that one day we could all find a way to heal. I cried as I read the letter. They were tears of sadness, but also tears of relief. My father was finally on my side. He was finally seeing things clearly. It was a start. A week later, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost did not answer it, but something made me press the green button. "Hello?" I said cautiously. "Anna, it's Chloe." Her voice was small, hesitant, nothing like the brash, confident tone she usually used. I was silent for a moment. "What do you want, Chloe?" I asked, my voice flat. I wanted to talk," she said. "Can we meet? For coffee?" I thought about saying no. I thought about hanging up the phone. But Liam's words came back to me. "Give them a path. See if they will walk it." "Fine," I said. "Tomorrow, 10 o'clock, the cafe on Main Street." I hung up before she could say anything else. I told Liam about the call. He was surprised but supportive. "Just be careful," he said. "Don't let her manipulate you." The next day, I walked into the cafe and saw Chloe sitting at a small table in the corner. She looked different. Her usually perfect makeup was gone. She was wearing a simple t-shirt and jeans. She looked tired. I sat down opposite her. A waitress came over, but I waved her away. "I'm not staying long," I said to Chloe. She flinched, but nodded. "Okay," she said. We sat in silence for a few awkward moments. Then she took a deep breath. "I'm sorry, Anna," she said, her voice cracking. "I am so sorry." I just looked at her, waiting. "I was horrible," she continued, tears starting to well up in her eyes. "What I did to you was unforgivable. There's no excuse for it. I was jealous. I've always been jealous of you. You have everything. You're smart, you're kind. You have Liam. And I'm just me." She started to cry in earnest now, her shoulders shaking. "I wanted to hurt you," she sobbed. "I wanted to make you feel as small and as miserable as I feel all the time. And I did. And it was the worst thing I have ever done in my life." I listened to her, my expression unreadable. Part of me felt a flicker of pity for her, but the bigger part of me was still wary. This could all be an act, a performance to get back in my good graces. "Why are you telling me this now?" I asked. "Because Dad cut me off," she said, wiping her eyes. "He said I have to get a job, pay my own rent. He said he's ashamed of me. And Mom is a wreck. She just sits in her room all day, crying. Dad is barely speaking to her." So that was it. The consequences were real. This was not about genuine remorse. This was about self-preservation. "So you're sorry because you're finally facing the consequences of your actions?" I asked, my voice cold. She looked up at me, her eyes wide. "No," she said. "That's not it. I mean, yes, that's what made me realize. But I am sorry. Truly sorry. I've started seeing a therapist. Dad is making me go. And she's helping me see how messed up I am. How much I've let my jealousy control me. How much I've hurt you over the years." She reached across the table and tried to take my hand, but I pulled it away. "I want to fix this, Anna," she said, her voice pleading. "I want my sister back." I looked at her. At her tear-stained face, at her desperate eyes, and I felt nothing. The well of emotion I used to have for her, whether it was love or anger or frustration, it was just empty. "I don't know if that's possible, Chloe," I said honestly. "You broke something important, and I don't know if it can be fixed." I stood up. "I'm glad you're getting help," I said. "I hope it works, for your sake." And then I walked out of the cafe, leaving her crying at the table. When I got home, I told Liam what had happened. He listened patiently, then he put his arms around me. "How do you feel?" he asked. "Empty," I said. I thought I would feel angry or sad or even satisfied, but I just feel nothing. "Maybe that's a good thing," he said. "Maybe it means you're finally letting go of the power she had over you." A few days later, my mother called. I let it go to voicemail. She left a long, rambling message. It was full of tears and apologies and excuses. She said she was sorry, that she loved me, that she did not know what she was thinking. She begged me to call her back. I deleted the message without a second thought. I was not ready to talk to her. Maybe I never would be. Chloe continued to text me every few days. They were short messages. "Thinking of you. Hope you're having a good week." My therapist gave me a book on sibling rivalry. It's really interesting. I never replied. I was not trying to be cruel. I just did not have anything to say. I was focusing on my new life, on my marriage. I was building something happy and healthy and strong with Liam, and there was no room in that new life for the toxicity of the past. 6 months passed. Liam and I settled into a comfortable routine. We were happy, genuinely happy. I had a new job that I loved. We were talking about maybe starting a family in a year or two. Life was good. I still had not spoken to my mother. Chloe's texts had become less frequent, and I was grateful for that. My father and I had dinner once a week. He was still living in the guest room. He and my mother were in marriage counseling, but he was not optimistic. "She still doesn't get it," he told me one night. "She thinks that if she just apologizes enough, everything will go back to the way it was. She doesn't understand that things can never go back to the way they were. That she broke our trust. Your trust." I nodded. He understood. He was the only one who really did. Then, one day, I got a package in the mail. It was from Chloe. I almost threw it away. But my curiosity got the better of me. I opened it. Inside was a small, beautifully bound photo album. The cover was embossed with the words, "For Anna." I opened it. The first page was a picture of us as little girls, sitting on a swing set, our arms around each other, big, gap-toothed grins on our faces. Underneath, Chloe had written, "I remember this day. We were best friends." I flipped through the pages. It was a chronicle of our lives together. Pictures from family vacations, from holidays, from school plays. Pictures of us laughing, of us being silly, of us being sisters. On the last page, there was a recent picture of me and Liam from our wedding. It was one of the professional photos. We looked so happy. Underneath the photo, Chloe had written a letter. "Dear Anna," it began, "I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I don't even know if I deserve to call you my sister anymore. But I want you to know that I am trying. I am trying to be a better person. Not for you, or for Mom, or for Dad, but for me. I am tired of being the person I was. I look at these pictures and I remember the girl I used to be. The girl who loved her big sister more than anything in the world. I don't know if I can ever be that girl again, but I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying. I love you, Chloe." I closed the album, a single tear rolling down my cheek. It was the first time I had cried over her since the wedding. But it was not a tear of anger or of hurt. It was a tear of something else. Something I could not quite name. Hope, maybe. A tiny, fragile glimmer of it. I did not call her. I did not text her. But I kept the album. I put it on the bookshelf in our living room. Sometimes when Liam was at work, I would take it down and look through the pictures. I would remember the good times. I would let myself feel the sadness of what we had lost. And I would wonder if it was possible to find our way back to each other. Not to the way we were, but to something new. Something better. Something built on a foundation of honesty and respect, instead of jealousy and lies. A year after the wedding, Liam and I hosted Thanksgiving at our new house. We invited my father and Liam's family. I did not invite my mother or Chloe. It was a difficult decision, but I knew it was the right one. I was not ready. The day was wonderful. The house was filled with love and laughter. It felt like a real family gathering. As we were cleaning up after dinner, my father pulled me aside. "Your mother and Chloe went to a shelter to serve dinner today," he said. I was surprised. That was not something they would ever have done in the past. "Oh," I said. "That's nice." "They're trying, Anna," he said. "In their own way. They're trying." I knew he wanted me to say something, to offer some sort of olive branch. But I could not. Not yet. The wound was still too raw. That night, after everyone had gone home, Liam and I were sitting on the couch watching the fire. "It was a good day," he said, taking my hand. "Yes," I said. "It was." "Are you okay?" he asked. "About your mom and Chloe?" I nodded. "I think so," I said. "I'm sad that they're not here, but I'm not sad that the drama isn't here. I like this. This piece." He kissed my hand. "Me too," he said. A few weeks later, just before Christmas, I was doing some last-minute shopping at the mall. I was in a bookstore looking for a gift for Liam when I heard a voice behind me say my name. Anna? I turned around. It was Chloe. She was holding a stack of books. She was wearing a name tag. She worked here. Chloe, I said, surprised. Hi. Hi, she said, a small, nervous smile on her face. What are you doing here? Christmas shopping, I said. You work here now? She nodded. Yeah, it's okay. The discount is good. We stood there for a moment in awkward silence. So, she said, I heard Thanksgiving was nice. It was, I said. Dad told me. Another silence. Look, Anna, she said, her voice dropping. I know you're still mad at me, I get it, but it's Christmas, and she's really not doing well. She's all alone. Dad is staying with Grandma for the holidays. I felt a pang of something. Guilt? Pity? I was not sure. I was thinking, she continued, maybe you could come over for Christmas Eve? Just for a little while. For her. I thought about it. I thought about my mother, alone in that big, empty house on Christmas Eve. I thought about the years of manipulation, the lies, the betrayal. And I thought about the tiny, fragile glimmer of hope I had felt when I looked at that photo album. I'll talk to Liam, I said. I'll think about it. Her face lit up. Really? She asked. That would be amazing, Anna. Thank you. I gave her a small, non-committal nod and walked away. I did not want to give her false hope. But I also did not want to close the door completely. Maybe Liam was right. Maybe it was time to see if they were willing to walk the path. I talked to Liam that night. I told him about running into Chloe, about her invitation. What do you want to do? He asked, his voice gentle. I don't know, I said, shaking my head. Part of me wants to go, to see if things can be different. But another part of me is terrified that it will just be the same old thing, that I'll get sucked back into the drama. We could go for a little while, he suggested. An hour, maybe. We can set a boundary. If they start to fall into old patterns, we leave. No arguments, no discussion. We just get up and walk out the door. It was a good idea. It gave me a sense of control. An escape plan. Okay, I said, taking a deep breath. Okay, let's do it. On Christmas Eve, Liam and I drove to my parents' house, the house I grew up in. It looked smaller than I remembered. There was only one car in the driveway, Chloe's. We walked up to the front door. I hesitated for a moment, my hand hovering over the doorbell. Liam took my hand and squeezed it. We can still leave, he said. I shook my head. No, I said. I need to do this. I rang the bell. Chloe opened the door. She was wearing a festive sweater. You came, she said, her voice filled with relief. I'm so glad. Come in, come in. We stepped inside. The house was quiet. Too quiet. My mother was sitting on the couch in the living room, staring at the unlit fireplace. She looked frail. She had lost weight. There were dark circles under her eyes. She looked up when we came in. Her eyes filled with tears. Anna, she whispered. I stood there, my arms crossed over my chest. Liam stood slightly behind me, a silent, supportive presence. Hello, Mom, I said. My mother stood up and took a hesitant step toward me. I'm so sorry, she said, her voice breaking. I am so sorry for everything. I did not say anything. I just waited. I was a terrible mother, she continued, sobbing now. I was so wrapped up in my own insecurities, in my own jealousy of your happiness, that I let Chloe. I encouraged her. She looked at Chloe, who was standing by the doorway, her face pale. We were wrong, my mother said, turning back to me. So wrong. And I have missed you every single day. She took another step toward me, her arms outstretched as if she wanted to hug me. I took a step back. I'm not here for a hug, Mom, I said, my voice steady. I'm not here to pretend that everything is okay, because it's not. Her face fell. I know, she whispered. I know it's not. Liam and I came here tonight to tell you what needs to happen if you want to have a relationship with us, I said. I took a deep breath. This was it, the moment of truth. First, you both need to be in individual therapy, consistently, for at least 6 months. Chloe nodded immediately. I'm already going, she said. I'll keep going. My mother looked less certain, but she nodded too. Okay, she said. Second, I continued, if we are going to have a relationship, it will have to be with a family therapist present, at least at first. We need a neutral third party to help us navigate this, to help us learn how to communicate in a healthy way. My mother's eyes widened. You want to air our dirty laundry in front of a stranger? She asked, her voice sharp. The old defensiveness was creeping back in. Liam stepped forward. Helen, he said, his voice calm but firm. This is not a negotiation. These are Anna's terms. You can either accept them or you can accept that you will not have a relationship with your daughter or your future grandchildren. The mention of grandchildren seemed to hit her hard. Her shoulders slumped. Okay, she said again, her voice small. Okay, a therapist. And third, I said, there will be no more secrets, no more lies, no more manipulation. From now on, we are all going to be honest with each other, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. I looked from my mother to my sister. If I find out that you are lying to me, or trying to manipulate me, or talking about me behind my back, I will walk away, and I will not come back. Do you understand? They both nodded, their eyes downcast. We understand, Chloe said. Good, I said. Then maybe we have a place to start. We stayed for another half an hour. The conversation was stilted and awkward, but it was a start. We did not hug when we left. We did not say, I love you. But as Liam and I drove home, I felt a sense of lightness that I had not felt in a long time. The emptiness was gone. It was replaced by a tentative, fragile hope. The road ahead was going to be long and difficult. There would be setbacks. There would be tears. But for the first time in a very long time, I felt like maybe, just maybe, we could be a family again. A different kind of family. A better kind. A family built not on obligation or shared history, but on a shared commitment to healing. And that was a Christmas gift more precious than anything I could have ever imagined. The journey was far from over, but we had taken the first step. And sometimes that's the hardest part.